Hi, it's Dennis Daly. The golden age of radio was one of the shortest golden ages of all time, yet during its run, radio brought about immense change in America. Radio brought us through the Depression and the Second World War, and then struggled on until television finally won the battle for supremacy in American media. Radio had begun just after the turn of the last century as dots and dashes, listened to by do-it-yourself radio enthusiasts. Then early voice transmissions brought radio into its first age. By the 30s, the techniques were perfected, the networks were in place, and radio was on its way. The war changed everything, as did the coming of television. On the night of September 30th, 1962, when yours truly, Johnny Dollar, and Suspense signed off on the CBS radio network, the golden age ended. But radio's final 25 years were golden indeed. So join me now as we explore radio's last 25 years. In 1948, Mahatma Gandhi was assassinated. President Truman officially integrated the U.S. Armed Forces. In order to go around the Soviet blockade of West Germany, the Air Force launched the Berlin Airlift. In sports, Cleveland beat the Braves in the World Series. In 1948, radio was getting a new rival in many cities, television. But radio was fighting back with some new and interesting shows and keeping the old standards. Here from 1948, from Mutual, produced in Chicago, is a good example of that kind of show. It's the casebook of Jerry Browning, private detective.
Calling all detectives. Suppose you visited a restaurant, found no menu, no waiters, no customers. Yet you knew it made fabulous profits. What kind of a racket would you look for? That is the problem on this page from my casebook. The casebook of Jerry Browning, private detective. Even though I, Jerry Browning, have been a private detective for 10 years, every now and then I get a case that floors me. Banking Associates Incorporated is a loan company so big that it specializes in lending money only to people who don't need it. Its executive director is Vaughn Ryerson, who has the ingratiating personality of a snake oil salesman, combined with all the kindliness of a bear trap. He said, "Close the door." Ryerson leaned back.
Here's your assignment, Browning. Auguste Escobier owns a restaurant on Morley Street. His statement shows he's making big money. Wants $70,000 to open a downtown branch. Ever eaten his place?
Well, no, sir. I never even heard of it. Ryerson said,
Neither did I, till he came in here. Can't imagine how he makes that kind of money. Look into it.
Escobier's restaurant was in an outlying section, the first floor of a modest brownstone house. It had no sign. The way I found it was by peering in and noting the tables. There were less than a dozen tables in the place, only 2 of them occupied. I sat down and waited. About 20 minutes later, a stout, middle-aged man walked up to me.
You are waiting for somebody?
Not somebody, something. I'd like dinner. The man looked perplexed, pulled out a chair, sat down at my table. He said,
I am Escobier.
There was a long, unhappy silence. Finally, Escobier said,
You are hungry, maybe?
I said, Yes, I am. Very hungry. Escobier's face lit up.
Fine, so am I.
He got up.
Come, we will go out for dinner together.
The head of an industrial loan company hired me to check up on a restaurant owner who offered to take me out for dinner. I said, Look, Mr. Escobier, this is supposed to be a restaurant. Don't you serve meals? Escobier said,
There is no selection, and it takes too long. If you are hungry, come with me.
Well, now I've heard everything. Okay, let's go.
A tall, important-looking man got out of a sporty-looking convertible that had pulled up in front of the building just as we reached the sidewalk. He called, "Hey, Escobier, wait a second." Escobier said,
Excuse me a moment.
"Now, see here, Escobier, don't think you can hold me up. I'll give you 100,000 for your place. Take it or leave it. 110,000 is my top price." Escobier took my arm.
My friend and I are about to dine. It is bad for the digestion to talk business before dinner. And in any case, I do not wish to sell.
We'd walked about half a block before I found my tongue. I said, "That man, he offered you $110,000 for your dinky restaurant?" Escobier smiled.
Yes, foolish, isn't it?
"It isn't foolish, it's insane. Anyway, where are you taking me?" Escobier said,
To Harry's hamburger. Hamburgers, my favorite dish. So easily prepared.
I wrenched my arm free. "Mr. Escobier, I just remembered. I've got important business to attend to." The next morning, I made my report to Ryerson. I said, "Escobier's place must be a front for some other kind of business." I can't imagine what. I told Ryerson about the purchase offer I'd overheard. Ryerson frowned.
Well, it doesn't seem logical. If he's running an illegal business, how can he expect to get a loan to build a branch restaurant?
Ryerson shook his head.
I consider this an unsatisfactory report, Browning. Your services are no longer required.
I got up. Okay. I never did like working for you anyway. Well, that's one way of alienating people and losing clients. I went back to my office, got out the folder labeled Banking Associates Incorporated, and flung it into the wastebasket. Then I sat down and brooded. The more I thought about Escobier and his weird business, the madder I got. Not because I'd been fired by a well-paying client, but because I couldn't figure out what the thing was all about. Finally, I picked up the phone, dialed a number. "Hello, Madge. Jerry Browning. How would you like to have dinner with me tonight?" "You would? Fine. I'll pick you up about 7. And if we wind up with hamburgers, don't be too surprised." When we entered Escobier's place, it looked much like the night before, except that tonight only one table was occupied. 2 women were sitting alone at it, though it was set for 4, and there were 4 cocktails on the table. Neither the women's escorts nor Escobier were any place in sight. I said to Madge, "Honey, there's something funny going on. You stay here while I look around. If you hear any peculiar noises, run out and holler for cops." I walked back toward swinging doors that obviously led into the kitchen and entered a kitchen straight out of a chef's dream of paradise. There were 6 spotless small ranges set against a wall. There were tables with burnished steel tops, all set with an array of carving tools and cooking gadgets. On the walls hung scores of pots, pans, skillets, racks, utensils of every size and shape, all gleaming steel and aluminum, all spotlessly clean. On the other wall, there was a huge icebox with glass doors, and inside it, steaks, chops, trussed-up chickens, turkeys, roasts, sections of ribs, all arranged with an artist's eye for pattern. 2 men were working with grim concentration, each at a range, each in a white apron and tall chef's cap. And sitting in a corner, reading a magazine, was Escobier. He glanced up, recognized me.
Oh, you are not so hungry tonight. You have decided to cook your own dinner?
I took another look around, the 2 engrossed men at the ranges, at Escobier's twinkling eyes. So that's what it is. You let amateur cooks come in here and prepare their own meals. Escobier smiled.
For a price. It is of necessity a high price. There is so much experimentation.
I licked my lips. Oh, brother. I always did want to try a souffle, and this is my big chance. Escobier said,
Yes, and no dishes to wash. That I do.
Well, that's all there was to the mystery of Escobier's success. He capitalized on every man's secret belief that he can cook rings around any woman, given everything he needs, plus a free hand.
It cost me a client to find it out. But it's a loss I've never minded. Like I said, man can't live by bread alone. But if it's bread he baked himself, he's generally willing to try. Listen next time to Calling All Detectives. Mystery drama, mystery quiz, and a chance for you to match wits with yours truly, Jerry Browning, Private Detective.
The Casebook of Jerry Browning, Private Detective. Also, during 1948, Mickey Rooney tried his hand at an interesting new radio format. It was a show where he played a newspaper reporter, a cub reporter, called Shorty Bell.
Mickey Rooney as Shorty Bell. From Hollywood, we bring you Shorty Bell, a novel for radio. The story of a young newspaper reporter in a big city, starring Mickey Rooney.
When I first got into the newspaper business, I didn't know a comma from an apostrophe. Don Robart, my managing editor, said he was hiring me for my curiosity and my brass, not for my writing ability. But of course, a reporter wouldn't be a reporter unless he wanted to write that great American novel, so naturally I got the bug. And just when I began to think my night school course was paying off, Mr. Robart called me into his office.
Mr. Bell, did you write this obituary?
Let me see, Professor Paul F. Andrews, Dean of the English Department at State University, died last night. Yeah, I wrote this. Why?
You misspelled 3 words and made 5 grammatical errors. It would have been much better, Mr. Bell, if you had died and the professor had written your obituary. I'm pasting this specimen of your matchless prose on the bulletin board in the city room as a horrible example.
Oh, no, wait a minute, Chief. Don't do anything like that. The fellows are all going to laugh
When
at me.
you've learned to write, I'll take it down.
I can write. Maybe it'd surprise you to know that I've already written a short story.
Indeed.
Yes, indeed. When I sell it, maybe you'll eat your words about my not knowing how to write. Ha! Go ahead and laugh. The story's already in Seymour Fowler's hands. How do you like that?
Seymour Fowler, eh? That flesh peddler.
Mr. Fowler happens to be an artist representative who knows all the publishers in New York and all the movie producers in Hollywood.
How much would you say your story is worth, Mr. Bell?
How much? Well, it's worth a lot. Might even sell it to the movies, yeah. Get as much as maybe $1,000.
Only 1,000.
Maybe 5,000. I'd say it's worth 5,000.
And when did you write this little masterpiece?
Days when things weren't so hectic around here. I don't let grass grow under my feet, you know. Not me.
You wrote it on company time, eh, Mr. Bell?
Oh, well, yes, you could say that.
I do say it, Mr. Bell. You realize, of course, that this story you wrote does not belong to you.
Doesn't belong to me, but of course it
And
belongs.
that you had no legal right to give it to Mr. Seymour Fowler. Having been written on company time, Mr. Bell, it belongs to this newspaper. Bring it to me, Mr. Bell. I want it.
I told you I gave it to Seymour Fowler.
Oh, very well. I'm not an unreasonable man, Mr. Bell. Instead of the story, I'll be satisfied with the price you yourself placed upon it. Just put the 5,000 on the desk, and we'll say no more of this matter.
Just put the Where would I get $5,000?
Then fetch the story from Seymour Fowler.
Look, Chief, it's only a teensy-weensy little story. And
Either bring it to me, Mr. Bell, or bring me $5,000, or go to the cashier's window and draw your severance pay. You know, if you didn't spend so much time composing the great American novel, perhaps you'd write better obituaries.
I know of one obituary I'd really put my heart and soul into.
That'll be all, Mr. Bell. Good morning.
Whoa! Hey, it's good to see you again.
Well, how are you, Mr. Fowler?
Busy.
Huh?
Got a minute to spare.
Well, but I came...
Sorry, I can't give you any more time today, but keep in touch. I'm always doing something.
Well, I have to talk to you about that story.
Story. What story is that, Mr.
Bell, Mr. Fowler.
Oh, yeah. Well, it's this way, Mr. Bill.
No, it's, the name is Bell.
Oh, of course, Bell. Yeah. Well, I didn't mean to be so formal, and I want you to call me Seymour, Bell.
No, look, Wait a minute, will you? Bell, Shorty Bell.
Shorty.
Yeah.
Say, don't I know you?
Of course.
Yeah, you gave me a story. Let me see. Don't tell me. What was its name again? Yeah.
Look, Mr. Fowler,
I like watch. Yeah. Sit down, Bell. Hey, have I got news for you?
Yeah, you stand up if I got news for you.
Listen to this. Hey, I was reading your story last week.
Yeah?
What's it called again?
The Dog Watch.
Yeah, the Dog Watch. That's the one. You know something you ain't gonna believe me.
What?
It brought tears to my eyes.
It did?
Yeah. You don't believe me? There's the phone. Call up my wife and ask her. I read it aloud, and we both sat there and cried like babies.
Well, Mr. Fowler, I wrote it as a comedy.
Yeah, that's swell. Listen to what happened. So as soon as I finished the story, I picked up the phone personally, and I called Al Delaney at Worldwide Studios out in
Al
Hollywood.
Delaney, you did! My story? No
Well,
kidding.
Bell, I don't waste time.
Oh, that's wonderful.
Al, I says to him, I happen to be handling just about the greatest dog story ever written. So then I tell him the
Dog
plot.
story.
and he
Wait a minute, dog story?
That's what he said.
I didn't write any dog story.
Yeah.
My story is about the newspaper business.
Yeah, that's what I said. So then we talked price and... Newspaper business.
Yeah.
You mean the Dog Watch is about newspapers?
Yeah, that's right.
Not dogs?
No.
Not Bow Wow? Not...
No, I thought you said you read it.
Well, yeah, I read the title. Holy smoke, they'll ruin me.
Who's going to ruin you?
Worldwide Studios. Already, Al Delaney sent me $500 option money. And he wants your story as a starring vehicle for Poogie.
Who's Poogie?
Who's Poogie? Poogie's Poogie! You seen his movies? Poogie runs away. Poogie comes home. My dog, Poogie.
My story? A movie for a dog?
A dog. He's not a dog, he's a star. I only wish I had his money.
Oh, my story, a movie for a dog. I can't believe it.
Wait a minute. What are you? Anti-canine? You are a cat lover? How do you like that? Shut up and let me think. All right, let me see. Now, what happens in your story?
Look, it's about a couple of newspaper guys who sit around a newspaper office during the dog watch.
Any murders in it?
No.
A chase, maybe?
No.
Maybe a gorilla with a human brain. You know, something refreshing.
No.
How do you like that? Just when everything was clicking. Here, read the telegram Al sent me.
Poogie arrives your city Tuesday.
That's today.
For 2 weeks of personal appearances. Have author study Poogie's personality. Me? I'm supposed to study a dog's personality?
Oh, sure. So you can adapt the story to his talents. Bell. Look, maybe.
No,
listen.
wait a minute.
Wait a second.
No,
I got
no,
an idea.
wait a
I got an idea. Will you listen? All right. All Delaney wants is an adoption, maybe 10 pages.
Adaption.
Yeah, that's what I said. Yeah. So, if you write an original story for Poogie,
Yeah.
I could tell Al it's the adoption. What do you say? It's the least you can do after getting me in such a jam.
I got you into a jam?
I got you, you got me. What's the difference?
Look at it.
What do you say?
It's no use, Seymour. That's what I came here to tell you. The story doesn't belong to me. I wrote it on company time, so it belongs to my newspaper. I'm going to have to take it out of your hands, I'm
What's the
afraid.
matter? You crazy or something? It is out of my hands. It's out of your hands, too. Delaney has an option on it. I can't get it back.
Seymour, look, you got to. Either I turn the story over to my boss or I got to give him $5,000. Otherwise, you're going to lose my job.
You're shouting, Bell. Now, sweetie, look.
Oh, wait a minute.
Do like I asked you.
Yeah.
Write the adoption.
Adoption.
Yeah, write it. All right, whatever it is. I may be able to get $5,000. Believe me.
Sorry, leave it later.
I can get $5,000. All right, okay, that's very funny. I can't spell. Go ahead.
Right.
I'm a fool, but I'm a writer. Oh, look, wait. Maybe I can get $5,000 for it, then you'll be clear.
But I have never written a dog story.
You've never written a dog. Look, it's easy. Look. All right, now try to picture this. You see, now here's what happens.
Yeah.
Poogie does something, and then so on and so on. Then he does something else, and then so on and so on. All right, yeah. But wait a second. Here's the payoff. Just when everything looks darkest, he does something else. and then to finish it off, it all ends up happy. You see what I mean?
But tell me, just what is it he does? What does he do?
Look, Bell, baby, you're the writer. I'm only the agent.
Gee. Imagine a dog living in a hotel like this.
Will you stop calling Poogie a dog? How much did you make last year?
Me? I made about $2,000.
You made $2,000. Poogie made $100,000. You have the nerve to refer to him as a dog. Now remember, whatever you do, don't make no passes at Jenny Ames.
Jenny Ames?
She's the girl who owns Poogie.
Oh.
She got an uncle named Toby who's always afraid Jenny will get married and he'll have to go back to work. I don't blame him either. You know what the market is these days for mahjong instructors?
No passes at Jenny Ames, check. Okay.
Yeah?
Whoa, whoa, whoa! Hey, hello, Toby. It's good to see you. Good to see you.
Hello, Seymour. Who's this guy?
Toby, meet Bell Billings. Bell's the
Billings?
fellow who wrote the story Delaney wants for Poogie.
Oh, yeah? Great story. Like everything I've heard about it, especially the part where he's kidnapped by gypsies. Poogie likes it, too.
Poogie likes it? Poogie?
Yeah, he loves scripts, especially with green covers. Likes to chew on them. Went through a whole set of Mark Twain last month. Me, I don't know one book from another. By the way, are you married, Billingsby?
Why, no, I used to go with a girl before the war. We weren't exactly engaged.
I want you to promise me something, Billingsby.
What?
Promise me you'll marry that girl.
I don't see how I can promise you that. I just...
Sure, he promises, Toby. You know, Cad,
Oh,
are
wait.
you, Bell? Toby, tonight he'll call her up. You'll be standing there listening. He'll name the date. How's that? But we're wasting time. Is that what you want to say, Bell?
No.
No one gets ahead. Just stand around talking. That's what you mean. Right you are, Bell. Toby, the kid's just dying to make Poogie's acquaintance.
Swell. Poogie's taking a voice lesson right now.
Poogie is taking a... He takes voice lessons?
Yeah, for his radio show, you know.
He's on the radio.
Yeah.
Look, don't you think it's a little silly for a dog to have a
Silly?
radio?
What's silly about it? Poogie wasn't always in pictures. That's where he got his start, in radio.
Oh.
Wait here. I'll be right back.
Look, there's no gypsies in my story. And why did you tell him I was going to get married? What right have you got to tell him?
I told you. You don't like bachelors.
I am not going to get married.
Okay. Tell you what. We'll tell him you had a change of heart and decided to enter a monastery.
We'll tell him the truth.
$5,000, Bell.
The truth.
5,000.
The...
5.
Which monastery?
This way, fellas.
I trust we ain't interrupting anything.
Oh, Poogie likes an audience. In here.
Ma non c'è tu vuoi lo posso indicato più tardi. All right, so we're going to try it again. A deep breath. You ready? Me. Oh, hello, Mr. Toby. Poogie's singing beautiful, eh? All right, Poogie, once more. You ready? Me. That's a fine. That's beautiful. All right, but the lesson is finished. Now we're going to rest.
Hey, that was beautiful, wasn't it, Bell? Bell, come out of that trance.
Never in my life have I ever seen anything or heard
Bilbo?
anything like that.
This is Poogie.
Bilbo.
And this is his voice teacher, Professor Peanut.
How are you, Jack?
Scratch his ears, Mr. Bilbo. He likes it.
Huh?
Go ahead, scratch his ears.
Oh, yeah.
Lisa, not to my ears.
Jimmy, make Poogie say hello to Mr. Bilbo.
Say hello, Poogie.
Get him off of me. He's crushing me.
He likes
crushing
you.
me.
He wants to lick your face.
Go ahead, Bell. Let him lick your face. Go ahead. There. Now you lick his face.
Lick out. Hey, listen, will you? Get him off of me, please. He's crushing me.
Come here to me, Poogie. That's a good boy.
Miss Ames. Miss Ames, this is Bell Billings.
Who's already engaged to a mighty fine girl.
Yeah, already.
Hello, honey. How are you?
Just wonderful. I haven't read your story, but the studio told me about it, and I think it's just wonderful. You know, making Poogie the leader of the St. Bernards up there in the Alps is a wonderful idea. Just wonderful.
Shouldn't Poogie be lying down before dinner, Jenny?
Uh-huh. Say bon voyage, Poogie.
Go get out. See you later.
See you all at dinner. You'll sit right next to Poogie, Mr. Foley. Won't that be wonderful?
Wonderful.
I want to have a word with you, Seymour.
Sure, Toby. You know what I was thinking? Maybe Bell can write in a scene where Poogie sits on street corners to raise dough so this gypsy kid can have an...
What gypsy kid? There's no gypsy guy in my story.
Excuse please, sir. Are you Shorty Bell?
No, my name's Bilbo. I mean, it's Bell. Bell, yeah, that's it, Bell. Shorty Bell, that's my name, Bell. I say that. That's
good.
Bell.
That's good. Look, coming east on a train, I read your story.
You did?
Uh-huh.
You mean that you actually read it?
Oh, not so loud. What's the matter? You crazy?
Why, what's the matter?
In this business, you must always give the impression that you're so busy you don't got a time for anything else.
Oh.
They ever learn you read a book, so they mark you lousy.
Oh, well, thanks for telling me you read it anyway.
That's all right. There's here no witnesses. I can always deny it.
Don't worry. Your secret's safe with me, chum. I'm not going to be in this business very long.
That's foolish. You're telling me something. You got an ambition in life?
Yeah, sure. I have an ambition. I want to be a writer.
What's so good? I got an ambition, too. That's why I stay in this business.
I don't understand.
Well, you make a quick $1.
Yeah.
Then you quit with enough to realize your ambition. That's what I've been doing now. They think they're using me, but all the time I'm using them. You should do the same thing.
Well, tell me, Professor, how long have you been in the picture business?
Oh, not too long. Just since they made the first Jolson story.
The Jolson story? You mean Larry Parks?
No, Jolson.
Oh. Well, what exactly is your ambition?
Oh, it's a beautiful ambition. I'm going to take this money when I make it, you see?
Yeah.
I'm going to take this money, and I'm going to, this money. So
Yeah.
I take it, and that's a funny thing.
What?
It's on the tip of my tongue, but I don't care to remember.
Mr. Bell, have you brought me the manuscript from Seymour Fowler, or did you get the $5,000?
Neither, Mr. Robart.
How long do you expect me to wait?
Just till I figure out a way to get a gypsy boy lost in the Alps.
You're going to get a What?
Mr. Robart, don't you think you're sort of pushing me around? You know, I could have a steady job in the movies.
Movies, eh? So, you think you'd prefer to exchange your press card for a diamond-studded dog collar, do you?
Dog collar?
Well, go right ahead, Mr. Bell. Hollywood's loss will be our gain.
No, Chief, I didn't mean that.
Oh, but I did. No reporter threatens me with talk of movies.
Okay, Mr. Robart, if that's the way you feel, you'll be sorry. Wait and see.
Mr. Bell.
Yeah, what do you want?
My regards to Sam Goldwyn, Louis Mayer, the Warner Brothers, and Trigger.
Hello, Bell. It's good to see you. Sit down. Make yourself comfortable.
Where's everybody?
Jenny's out with Poogie. Went down to get a magazine to chew on.
Yeah.
And Toby's over at the theater counting the take. I'm glad you dropped over. You know what? Al Delaney's going to call us this afternoon. He'll want to know how you're doing on the adoption. How's it coming along, Bell?
Not so good. I just don't seem to know what to write about.
Oh, that's the craziest reason for not writing I ever heard. Bell, baby, look, listen to me. Your approach to this problem is childish. You got to grow up, you know what I mean? I want you to mature. Try to get sort of distinguished gray at the temple.
If I don't know what to write about, I don't know what to write about, and that's all there is to it.
Baby, listen to me, will you? If they didn't make movies till they had something to make movies about, it would leave people sitting in theaters just eating popcorn. See what I mean?
Well, what should the story be like? And don't tell me Poogie does something and so on and so on. What's it about?
You don't like that approach, huh?
No.
Well, it is sort of old chapeau. But wait a second, kid, I got it. Your worries are over.
Tell me, what is it?
We change it. We pull the old switcheroo.
What's that?
Now try to comprehend this.
Yeah.
Instead of Poogie does something and so on and so on and so on.
Yeah.
Poogie doesn't do something and so on and so on and so on.
That's great. That's wonderful.
You really think so?
Okay. Hello, Jenny. How are you?
Oh, wonderful. Just wonderful. Poogie, here's your magazine. Now just sit down and enjoy yourself. I bought him a copy of Life. He likes to look at pictures while he chews. How's the story coming, Bobo?
We were just discussing it.
Did you give it a happy ending? It has to have one, you know.
She's right. All movies do.
I think the Motion Picture Production Code says they have to.
Motion Picture Production Code? What's that?
Well, it's a code for making movies. It tells you what you're allowed to put in and what you're not allowed to put in.
Yeah, it's this way. A long time ago, all the producers had a conference. Lasted for days. Smoke-filled rooms and all that. They came to a conclusion that evil was wrong and good was right. Then they put it in code.
I put it in code. I still don't understand. What sort of code?
Well, take it for instance. Crime don't pay. It's okay to show an evildoer having a fine time on his loot, but when it comes to the end of his life, he must die. You understand? Crime don't pay.
And it tells about love.
It tells what about love?
Well, you have to be careful with love themes. Otherwise, you arouse morbid curiosity on the part of the audience.
Morbid curiosity?
Look, Bobo, put your arms around me and I'll show you.
Well, wait a minute.
Come on. There. Now, the code says you can't have a kiss like this. See?
No, not quite.
Simple. It lasted too long.
But a kiss like this is all right.
Billy, what are you doing in church?
Bell, give me an equivocal answer, quick.
Uncle Toby, I know what you must be thinking, but I swear we were just...
Out! Fowler, take him out before I throw him out.
Please listen to me, will you, Uncle Toby?
Let Poogie make the dog watch either. I'll tell Delaney when he calls.
Seymour, please do something. I gave up my job for this guy and the dog.
I'll get it. Hello. Whoa. Hello, Al.
It's Al.
Yeah. This Seymour Fowler. Yeah, Al Delaney.
Yeah, thanks.
Just a second, Toby. What'd you say, Al? Yeah, the story. Oh, it's terrific, Al. Yeah, stop worrying. Yeah, I know you have a large investment in Poogie. He's a valuable property. But this writer of mine is sensational. He's got the spark, you know what I mean?
Let me talk to him.
Oh, Uncle Toby, be careful with your cigar.
Yeah, the story's got everything. What's it about? Hold on a second. Here, Bell, you better talk to him.
Me?
Yeah, he wants to know what the story's about. Talk to him.
What'll I say? I don't know.
Well, say something literary.
Hello, Mr. Delaney. Yeah, the story? Well, Poogie does something and so on and so on, and then he does something else and so on and so on. And
that's enough, Bell. Hello, Al. Yeah. Did you hear what he said? Yeah, wasn't that gorgeous?
Hurry up. Who's paying for this call?
Yeah, this kid's an intellectual. Yeah, I spotted it the first minute him and me crossed swords.
Well, you let me talk to him.
Oh, Uncle Toby, the ashes from your cigar. You just set Poogie's magazine on fire.
Never mind, I'll put it out.
Yeah, what'd you say, Al? Talk a little louder. Yeah, there's some commotion going on here. Yeah, my boy just saved Poogie's life, that's all. What?
Shut up.
Nothing. Just went up in flames. Al, don't get excited. Sounds like Al's having a stroke. Yeah. Poogie's okay. My boy saved his life, that's all. What? Publicity? Yeah, that's sensational, Al. Sensational. Okay, I'll set it up at this end. So long.
I wanted to talk to him. I want him to fire this...
You're wasting your time, Toby. Bell here is now the white-haired boy.
I'm what?
Delaney's flying here with Carlotta Weems. She's going to make a special broadcast from this city. A tribute to Bell Billings.
Tribute to me? What did I do?
Nothing. But Al thinks you saved Poogie's life. I wonder what gave him that impression.
Testing. 1, 2, 3, whoop. Okay for level?
Yeah, that's okay, Bob. Now, do you all know what to do? Any questions, Mr. Biltmore?
No, I have it straight, Mr. Robeson, but I'd like you to get one thing straight. The name is Bell, not Biltmore.
Good, I understand, Mr. Biltmore. How about you and Poogie, Miss Ames?
Oh, don't worry about Poogie. He's going to be just wonderful.
All right, quiet, please, quiet. Stand by. 10 seconds. 8, 5, 3, 2...
The makers of Krilo presents the most beloved of Hollywood reporters, Carlotta Weems.
Use Krilo every single day, 'cause Krilo Kreel's the Krilo way. Other Krelos Kreel too slow, so ask for Krelo. Krilo.
Remember, Krilo melts in your hands. And now, Carlotta covers the cinema for Krilo. Carlotta Weems.
Exclusive. Despite the rumors you heard, Washington Irving will not write the screenplay for his story Rip Van Winkle, and for a very good reason. Get well soon, Washington. And now for my feature of the week. Ladies and gentlemen, tonight we pay tribute to the young man who saved Poogie's life. His name, now known throughout the world, is Bobo Biltmore. And he's sitting here along with Poogie, Poogie's owner, Miss Jenny Ames, and Mr. Al Delaney, the producer of Poogie's pictures. Won't you say a few words, Bobo?
I did what any right American... Well, further back, and his name is known throughout the world, Bobo Biltmore. I did what any right-thinking American would have done. In my place, I assure you, Miss Ames and Mr. Delaney, I was only trying to live up to Poogie's own high standard of conduct. That's all I was trying to do, Mr. Delaney.
You are far too modest, Bobo. Agree with me, Miss Ames?
Oh, yes.
That's you again. Me? Oh. You are all too kind. I really don't deserve this honor.
We think you do, and I say that from the bottom of my heart and with an emotion not easily put into words. I am sure you share This feeling, too, don't you, Miss Ames?
Yes. And now, ladies and gentlemen, Mr. Delaney has a little memento for Bobo. This part of the broadcast was not rehearsed, and Bobo is in for a surprise. Mr. Delaney?
Bobo, on behalf of Worldwide Studios, I hereby present you with a duplicate of Poogie's own diamond-studded collar. Go ahead, take it. Also, a charter membership in Poogie's fan club, carrying with it the title of Honorary Dog.
Ladies and gentlemen, Bobo is overcome. Oh, I wish you could all see his face. Won't you say a few words, Bobo?
Yeah. What can a man say when he's just been made an honorary dog? You know, someone once told me I'd wind up with a diamond-studded dog collar if I didn't watch out, and boy, how right he was.
Bobo, what kind of a story are you writing for Poogie?
You're asking me? A guy who can't even knock out an obituary? Ha, ha, ha! I'm getting out of this setup here, Mr. Delaney. Take back your dog collar.
Just a moment, young man.
Out of my way, Delaney.
Let me tell you...
I said get out of my way. No!
Exclusive! Bobo Biltmore just KO'd Al Delaney, producer of Heading West, starring Lana Dupre, who has never looked lovelier.
Use Krilo every single day, 'cause Krilo creels the Krilo way. Other Kreelers creel too slow, so ask for K-R-E-L-O. K-R-E-L.
Bobo, wait.
No, it's no use, Jenny. I've made up what little mind I have left.
But where are you going?
I'm going to try and get my job back. Jenny, listen, I know there are daffy people in every business, but I prefer my own brand.
Poogie, you ask him to stay.
I'll get down, you big ox. Get away from me.
Daily News.
I want to talk to Mr. Robard. Poogie, will you get down?
Robard speaking.
Hello, Mr. Robard.
Who's this?
Shorty, Mr. Robard. Keep away from me, you big ox.
What?
Not you, Chief. Mr. Robard, listen, I don't want to play games with you. Stop licking my neck.
Have you gone completely mad, Mr. Bell?
No, Chief, listen, please.
Not now, Mr. Bell. I'm busy.
But you've got to listen.
Now, wait a moment, Mr. Bell. There's something you may be able to do for me.
What?
I'm trying to locate a movie writer named Billings, or Billingsby, or Bowley, or Biltmore. Nobody seems to know exactly what his name is.
Biltmore?
Yeah, during a broadcast a moment ago, he went berserk and made some news, but we can't locate him for an interview. Do you know him?
No, I never heard of him, Chief. Never heard of him.
Then you're wasting my time.
Oh, hold on a second, Mr. Robard. Poogie, listen, if you don't leave me alone, I'm warning you, Poogie. Hello, Chief, listen.
Yeah?
If I give you a real scoop, I mean a real one. When you forget about the story I wrote and the money I owe you and let me come back to work.
If it's a real scoop, yes.
Mr. Robard, it's something every editor dreams of putting on his front page. The perfect story.
I'm listening.
Just give me a second. Did you hear that, Chief? That was the scoop. Man bites dog.
Next week, Mickey Rooney returns in Shorty Bell, a novel for radio. Tonight's script was written by Walter Newman with music conceived and conducted by Wilbur Hatch. Shorty Bell is produced and directed by William N. Robeson, and tonight featured John Hoyt as Robard. Be with us again next Sunday night when Mickey Rooney stars as Shorty Bell. Mickey Rooney appears by arrangement with Metro-Goldwyn-Mayer, producers of Irving Berlin's Technicolor Easter Parade, starring Judy Garland and Fred Astaire. This is CBS, the Columbia Broadcasting System.
Now another show that was heard during 1948 and ran less than a half hour. The venerable gossip columnist Luella Parsons had a daily show that was on and off the network schedule through the 40s and into the 50s. It was full of dirt and gossip and occasionally a great guest star. Now here's Luella Parsons from 1948.
Woodbury Hollywood News, featuring Luella Parsons, Hollywood's best-known, best-loved, most distinguished reporter and Hearst Syndicate writer, whose column appears in the Springfield, Massachusetts Republican and 799 other newspapers. Miss Parsons' special guest this evening is Joan Crawford, brought to you by transcription from New York by famous Woodbury Facial Soap. True beauty soap for the skin you love to touch. And here with the latest Woodbury Hollywood headlines is Luella Potts.
Hello to all of you from New York. Well, here I am in the big town, but with movie news from both Hollywood and New York. My first exclusive. The Frank Sinatras are expecting another baby in late May. Well, this ought to put an end to those silly rumors that Nancy and Frank are separating. My second exclusive. Gene Tierney and Ole Cassini will announce their reconciliation any day. They are together constantly and almost daily visit their child in the country. My third exclusive. Patricia Knight, Mrs. Cornell Wilde, has taken an apartment here in New York for an indefinite period. Pat admits Cornell won't be here until February. They parted after a terrific battle. What, again? Attention, Floyd Binford, Memphis censor. Lena Horne, one of our foremost Negro singers, has been invited to give a command performance for the King and Queen of England. Well, Mr. Binford, maybe she's not good enough for Memphis, but she's good enough for all of England and for everybody in America, excepting Memphis, I might say. I hear from Mexico, but I have been unable to verify this report, that Ray Hendricks, Lorraine Day's ex-husband, was married there 3 weeks ago to Dorothy Bell, famous pilot. Ray's divorce will not be final until November 20th, so he will be remarried then. About the same time, Lorraine and Leo DeRocher will go through with the marriage ceremony, their second. Just a few hours ago, Clarence Brown, noted director, was married at Port Washington to Marion Steeves, his former secretary. His boss, Nicholas Schenck, was best man. Mr. and Mrs. Brown will honeymoon in Europe. I'm sorry to say Bobby Jordan, former dead-end kid, undergoes a very serious operation tomorrow. Bobby was injured 3 weeks ago when an elevator dropped 6 stories and hurt his leg and back, and he's been in the hospital ever since that time. Helen Walker is marrying director Lucky Humberstone in Mexico in about a month. Helen is the actress who was cleared of manslaughter charges following an automobile accident in which a GI hitchhiker was killed. Wonderful news right from Charlie Carell, Andy of Amos and Andy. He telephoned me from Hollywood just a few moments ago that Mrs. Carell expects another baby in May. It'll be their 5th child. What a wonderful family. Did my heart good last night to see the ovation my star reporter received when he went to see High Button Shoes. The audience stood as one and cheered him. I am, of course, referring to Mr. Robert Holt, who is covering Princess Elizabeth's marriage and the command performance given by Hollywood stars for you and me on this show 2 weeks from today from dear old London. Countess Dorothy DeFasso is in the chips again. She has gotten back all her money that was confiscated in Italy during the war, and she has invested in 2 Italian pictures. I've never known anyone who has the knack of getting in bad like the Countess. Everyone resented the crack she made when she was interviewed about Bugsy Siegel's murder. After all, Dorothy is an American, and it's not very nice to criticize your own country. When I printed that Lana Turner's date was off with Tyrone Power and that he would not be back in this country on November 14th, everyone started saying that the romance was over. It isn't true. Tyrone gets back in 2 weeks, and let me say wherever Lana is, he will head straight for her.
When Woodbury Dev Jean Mannis of Augusta, Georgia, met handsome Edward Kirkley Holland, she thought, oh, the perfect man. But Jean's perfect man, well, he had a failing for gin rummy. And that led to twosome evenings, just Jean and Kirk. Now, Kirk played his hand well, always scored gin across the board. And Jean, she played her romance hand well with a Woodbury facial cocktail to sparkle up her skin before every date. The romance score, 2 in love. Said Kirk, Jean always looked so lovable with her smooth, rose-fresh complexion. Said Jean,
That's my Woodbury.
My True Beauty Soap. It helps skin stay the softest, smoothest.
And here is Jean's Woodbury Facial Cocktail.
First, cream on the luscious, rich lather. Woodbury mild, Woodbury gentle cleansing. Then double rinse, warm and cold. Result, satin skin that sparkles, clear, fresh, invites romance.
That's Woodbury loveliness. So girls, try this facial cocktail with extra mild Woodbury daily. Woodbury is made with a beauty cream ingredient. Its rich lather gives your skin lovely to love, fresh bloom. Get Woodbury Facial Soap for the skin you love to touch. And here's the editorial feature. Luella Parsons speaks her mind.
I'm on my Woodbury soapbox tonight to say that while I personally know that Humphrey Bogart is a loyal American, he was ill-advised when he went to Washington to protest the procedure of the Thomas Committee. Actors, of course, should have their civil rights protected, the same as any other citizen. But because their names make news, they must be doubly careful that their motives are clearly understood. Bogey went to Washington with good intentions, but every day I have received hundreds of letters from people who insist he is a communist, because there were some people questioned at the hearing who were under suspicion. So I say to Bogey and other personalities, stop, look, and listen before you get yourself involved in causes that can be grossly misunderstood. It's just a coincidence that Joan Crawford and I happen to be visiting in New York at the same time. But let me tell you, it's no coincidence that she is on this show. When I learned that Joan was going to be in New York this weekend, I lost no time in asking her to be my guest. I had to do a lot of persuading, because Joan would rather face 10,000 cameras than one poor little mice. But I'm very proud to say, here she is, the dynamic personality who best typifies the Cinderella story to the world. More than any girl I know, Joan has the glamour the fans expect in their movie stars. And besides, she's a very great actress. Hello, Joan.
Hello.
Without being too personal, may I ask what brings you to New York?
Well, I'm here for fun and until proven guilty.
Until proven guilty? What on earth did you do?
Nothing yet. Until Proven Guilty is the title of my next Warner Brothers picture. And oh, Luella, it sounds terrific. Ben Hecht and Charlie MacArthur wrote the play originally, and I'm here to confer about it. Hey, that's not what I came on this show to talk about.
No.
Oh, no. Come on, where's that Woodbury soapbox of yours? It's not often that somebody like me gets a chance to sound off. I've got a subject I feel deeply about.
Oh, Joan, is there anything you don't feel deeply about?
Well, now that you mention it, I guess there isn't. But, Luella, honestly, I do want to answer the one question that so many girls write me about.
What's that, Joan?
Well, they write me about the whole big subject of whether or not to become career women. Those poor little kids just starting out, oh, golly, I can't exaggerate how mixed up they are about it.
Why? What do you think mixes them up?
What mixes a woman up on anything, except men? I think it's a crying shame that so many girls let themselves be scared out of self-improvement and success by the same old sly masculine line.
Well, there are quite a few sly old masculine lines. Which particular one are you talking about?
Oh, that threat of theirs that if you become a successful career woman, you lose your femininity, and therefore they won't like you. Oh, what a lie that is. Luella, look at you.
I will not, particularly if you want to use me as a horrible example.
Well, you know, I was going to say nobody could be more feminine than you are. And that same thing goes for practically any big career woman you can think of in any line. Like Mrs. Roosevelt, or Claire Booth Luce, or Helen Hayes, or Ingrid Bergman.
Oh, now calm down, Joan. Calm down.
Okay, kid me. I warned you how I felt on this subject. But I do want to assure the girls that there's so much less danger in going ahead improving themselves than there is in lingering behind while your dream boy goes ahead somewhere else to somebody else.
But, Joan, not all girls can become glamour girls like you.
Oh, yes, they can, Luella. Believe me, if starting with nothing the way I did, I'd become the kind of, assembly job that's tagged glamour, then any girl can do it.
Maybe you'd better explain what you think glamour is, Joan.
In my opinion, it's discipline. Discipline and applied art.
I think it's an inner glow, too. Don't you, Joan?
Mm-hmm. You're quite right. But that inner glow comes from discipline, too. The sheer force of not letting yourself be sloppy or lazy, of learning and growing.
I gather the applied art is all the tricks of appearance.
Oh, honey, every trick in the book. Makeup and hairdos and posture and diction and clothes and, well, maybe I should say the works.
Maybe you should say the sly old feminine line.
Miss Parsons, you are very, very sharp. But that merely proves my point. I say to the girls just starting out, if you have the capacity to be a career woman, you can be a careerist and a woman, too. I want to say I think it's wrong, however, if any woman neglects her children or her home for her work. But if you start working early enough, you'll learn how to have all three, and that way your life will be always exciting. You know, Luella, I believe a career woman has earned the right to be an idealist in love. Don't you agree with that?
Yes, Joan, I do. I agree with you completely. And all my thanks for being here tonight.
Luella, you know it was a privilege. Thank you so much, and goodbye now.
Goodbye, Joan, and I can't wait to see your new picture, Daisy Canyon.
Girls, dreaming of a certain man, wishing you could find the spark that invites and keeps romance. Well, marrying Deb, say men fall fast for radiant, velvet-smooth skin, Woodbury Soft. You see, Woodbury contains a rich beauty cream ingredient. It's different, extra mild. So smooth on this luscious, creamy, rich lather. Watch your skin bloom enchantingly fresh, make you adorable and adored. Try Woodbury Facial Soap, true beauty soap, for the skin you love to touch. And here's Luella Parsons with last-minute news.
Today, Mrs. Bert Lancaster goes into the hospital in Los Angeles to have her baby. If it's a boy, she'll name it William. If it's a girl, Susan. It's just been revealed that Ma Hardy, Faye Holden, has been suffering from glaucoma, a dangerous eye disease. She almost lost her eye, but the doctors today told her sight would be saved. Dorothy McHale and her husband, the Orchid King, are as happy could be, and you needn't believe any reports to the contrary. Mimi Forsyth Boges married James Parnell Turner in Santa Barbara November 23rd. She's the ex-wife of producer Ben Boges, who is now married to Dolores Moran. When Miriam Hopkins' husband, Ray Brock, a few days ago left for Europe, it was goodbye to their marriage. He goes to France and the Balkans on a writing stint.
Next Sunday, same time, same station, another edition of Woodbury Hollywood News, featuring Luella Parsons reporting up to the second movie headlines direct from the film Capitol. Until then...
This is Luella Parsons saying that's all for tonight. But I'll see you next Sunday, when my guest will be that beautiful and popular MGM star, Greer Garson. And I'll see you from New York again next week.
This is Ben Grauer saying goodnight for Woodbury Facial Soap, true beauty soap for the skin you love to touch.
Oh, that's stretching the truth to say I look like a 16-year-old girl.
But it's certainly true that Mrs. George Hill of Green Bay, Wisconsin, got compliments often after using Woodbury Special Dry Skin Cream nightly. As she said,
my dry skin seems to drink up the richness of Woodbury Special Dry Skin Cream. Tiny lines look softer. My friends say I really look younger.
Woodbury is rich in lanolin's beautifying benefits. Has 4 special skin softeners to smooth and freshen. Get Woodbury Special Dry Skin Cream now.
Joan Crawford was presented by Transcription. This is ABC, the American Broadcasting Company.
I'm Dennis Daly. Thanks for going along on our journey through the final 25 years of radio. Radio's golden years. Join me again next time.